Hey guys, what's up? Now that Lenovo has finally officially launched the Moto G5 Plus in India, it's time to do a full review of the device. So let's get started. For Motorola as a brand or the Lenovo-owned Moto, the Moto G series is one of the most iconic and the most important series. The Moto G was officially the first phone that brought back Motorola to its limelight, and with the G3, Moto gained a lot of popularity thanks to their IP67 design on the smartphone. Now, ever since Lenovo took over Moto and decided to call it Moto by Lenovo, a lot has changed in the design aspect of devices. Especially the Moto G4 last year, and this time around the Moto G5 is a complete redesign of the G series. If we talk about the build quality, the phone is made entirely out of metal and has a completely different and more premium look towards it. So the Moto G series has gone from a sporty, youthful brand to now a premium looking all-metal brand. The phone is definitely sleeker and feels extremely comfortable in the hand, and over the front now gets Gorilla Glass 3. You don't get any sort of IP protection, so you don't get any sort of water resistance or dust protection, but you do have a nano water repellent coating which will prevent damage from basic splashing on your device. As far as specifications are concerned, the phone is packed with pretty impressive specs, and if you compare it to the last year's Moto Z Play, the specifications are almost at par. Over the front you get a 5.2-inch 1920 by 1080p display. This is an IPS LCD display, and you get great colors and viewing angles, and the display is very visible indoors as well as outdoors. The size of the phone is pretty comfortable in an average to large size hand, but if you do have tiny hands, Moto has enabled the ability to shrink the screen and make it smaller, so accordingly you can now reach ends of the display, easily use the phone with one hand. The device does run Android 7 out of the box. It's extremely responsive, and since it runs a stock variant of Android, little or no customization has been done by Moto. You only get some actions from the Moto app along with gestures that Moto has had from the beginning, and they seem to work really well for the company, as well as users have found them really interesting. So you still have features like double chop to turn on the flashlight and twist to turn on the camera quickly, which really comes in handy. Speaking of the camera, it's an impressive dual pixel camera with a 12 megapixel sensor. You get really good low light images thanks to the f1.7 aperture. Focus is impressive with the PDAF, although laser focus would have been good for low light performance images, but PDAF works just as well. The images are mostly crisp, the color saturation is on point, you get great contrast and an accurate color from your images. The Pro mode included on the camera app allows you to control your shutter speed, your white balance, your ISO along with your focus manually, and you get toggles to be able to do all of that on the screen of the device itself. The phone also has a bunch of other modes, including a slow-mo at 720p and a panorama mode, which is pretty standard for mostly all Google devices nowadays. The phone also does capture good 4K video at 30 frames per second. It turns out to be really smooth, and the audio capture is also pretty impressive. The speakerphone is located in the earpiece of the device, which is a forward-firing speaker. So if you're watching video on the 5.2-inch display, you get a really good audio firing towards you, although it's not the loudest that we've seen, and we do miss the dual speaker setup or a stereo speaker setup that we've seen in Moto devices in the past. That is not there in the Moto G5 Plus. Another thing that's not there in the Moto G5 Plus is the compass, and that is something that is again slightly disappointing. There is no magnetometer in the device, so while it does not really affect navigation, it does not automatically turn the map in the direction that you're going. If you do have an active cellular connection with data, the maps do automatically rotate using GPS and cellular triangulation, but you don't get instant turning like you do with a compass. Now, if you talk about what's running this device, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 625 is an impressive chipset, and it is available in a much cheaper phone, the Redmi Note 4, at a price of 9,999. But with the Moto G5 Plus and the stock Android feel, the user experience in the day-to-day usage, along with navigation through applications, multitasking, and playing games is a lot smoother. The stock Android also manages memory really well, so you get a lot of free memory at all times, with an average of only 1.7 out of the 3.6 gigabyte being used at all times. What's also interesting is that games play really well on this device. If you put them in high graphics, the animations, the frame rates are really good. You get literally no lag from the device while playing high intensity games, and the feedback from the gaming experience is pretty good. We would have appreciated stereo speakers, but you get only a single speaker, which is loud enough to say the least. Another interesting thing that Lenovo Moto has done with the Moto G5 Plus is the fact that now you can pop in 2 SIM cards as well as a micro SD card. So you don't have to compromise on the hybrid tray system. You can use 2 SIM cards and the SD card together. So that is something that people will appreciate a lot. You can pop in up to a 256 gigabyte variant, so you don't have to be stuck with a 32 gigabyte storage and 2 SIM cards, or 32 gigabyte storage and 1 SIM card and 1 micro SD card. Now you can have 32 gigabyte of storage plus 256 gigabytes of storage, and then 2 SIM cards as well. Phone does support VoLTE for those who are using Reliance Jio, and we found networks to be solid and robust. Network connectivity indoors as well as outdoors is good. The sound from the earpiece as well as the microphone going to the other end is fantastic. You do have some sort of noise cancellation thanks to the secondary noise cancellation microphone on the device, which seems to be working really well on the device as well. Now the Moto G5 Plus does have a 3000 mAh battery, which does support turbo power 2 charging. So it charges up really quickly. In a charge worth about an hour and a few minutes of change, you get a full charge on the device using the included charger. The only disappointing aspect of the device is the fact that Moto did launch the Moto M with a USB Type-C port, and I was expecting the Moto G5 Plus with a USB Type-C port, but you still get a micro USB port, and that is something that is slightly disappointing from the company. That being said, the 3000 mAh battery is really well managed, and the power consumption from the device is also really well managed, so you do not get to exhaust your battery half day, and it will last you a full day plus some more, depending on the kind of usage you have. In extreme cases, you can also turn on the power saver mode, which does help you save up some battery. Now the Moto G5 Plus does have Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, and the rear camera lens cover is also not plastic, it's glass. So a lot of people who had complaints about the rear camera scratching, they're not going to have that, as well as the bezel and the way it's designed on the camera will protect the camera from scratching easily. It does seem that Lenovo Moto has managed to improve upon the Moto G4 Plus with the Moto G5 Plus, barring a few things. The all-metal body is sleek, fits comfortable in the hand, is thinner, and definitely lighter than the previous generations of the Moto G series. The phone looks sleek and premium, and at the same time does give you the Gorilla Glass 3 protection on the front, as well as the glass protection for the camera lens cover. You do get an impressive Snapdragon 625, which performs really well, and you do get good capacity storage along with the micro SD card memory that you can add onto the device without compromising on the SIM card slots. Networks are robust and sound quality is great during voice calls and otherwise. The LCD display is great indoors and outdoors, and the camera manages to capture really good photographs along with good 4K video. Price starting 14,999, the Moto G5 Plus definitely makes a mark in this price bracket. To check out our full unboxing of the Moto G5 Plus along with comparisons, gaming and benchmark videos, visit us on youtube.com/iGyaan. If you haven't already, guys, hit the bell icon to get notified each time we upload a new video. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. You can also visit us on iGyaan.in, catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And until I see you next time, this has been Bharat. Thank you guys for watching.